I call a meeting of infrastructure to order. Meeting was properly posted on January 5th, 2024 to the districts represented, District 2 and District 3.
District 1 and District 2.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Thank you for,
Yeah.
I'll defer a second that correction. Thank you.
Yeah, and to that point, I spoke with Dawn this morning. She's not going to be able to be here. Colton's out of town. So with District 3 not being represented, I think that we should postpone any of our action items until they're available. If there are folks here that we've got, if there's anything time sensitive that we need to address, maybe we can address that. But I think anything else that's not time sensitive or folks that came in, to make presentations, we can go ahead and receive those. But I think anything else, we probably need to either recess the meeting at the end of the docket to a later date this week or early next week, or just dispense of the meeting at the end and then call a special, whatever the will be.
Do you have information when Don's available?
Do not. It's a little up in the air. So, I mean, we could, recess it to the end of the week or, the beginning of next week. So. Okay.
All right. Item number 1, discussion and possible action regarding minutes of December 27th. I will move approval with a slight correction on item number 6. It has acceptance of documents listed twice, but one of those should be acceptance of an update.
Yeah, so, I would prefer to approve the minutes when District 3 is here.
Okay, all right, so okay not enough to approve. Okay.
Yeah.
Item number 2, discussion possible action regarding TIF 2 and TIF 2A. Stacy?
No changes.
All right. Okay. Item number 3, discussion and possible action regarding ARPA projects list to include not limited scope, funding schedule, and incidentals. Stacy, do you have anything to?
I think we'll wait till the owner's rep report to get into some of those.
All right. Item number 4, discussion possible action regarding capital improvements list, scope, funding schedule, and incidentals. Do you have any update on that?
Yeah, I added some turnstiles for the different buildings in the campus to the list.
Okay. Is that reflected on what's attached to the agenda?
Yeah, it's on the attachment.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
That's it.
Any questions?
No, I think we can have any in-depth specific discussions whenever we reconvene this meeting or the next meeting.
I move to receive that update from. No.
His update was just about the turnstiles that are already on the attachment, so I don't think we need to receive that.
Okay. You want discussion action item number 5 on regarding election of chairman and vice chairman. You want to wait for Joe to be able to speak for himself?
Well, I can speak for District 1. However, District 3 is not here to speak for themselves, so I would prefer that we postpone that item, just like any of the others. I think any of the action that we take, unless it is something, Stacy, that needs to be taken care of today, I think we should postpone any action on any of the items.
Okay, we will wait for on 5. On 6, I believe that I would move for that to be stricken.
I will second.
Do you have any? Wait, Grant, did you want to speak to moving over to the
BOCC approved it last week, so I don't think does it need to be on the agenda any longer.
No, I was just going to say, as soon as everything's cleared out and ready to go, I have getting a quote today from a moving company to get the funds for that, for us to fund that. And get it moved and get a date. So really, we're just waiting on a date at this point, I think. So that's all I was going to add.
Yeah, I think this item is needs to appropriately be stricken due to BOCC taking action on this last week. It's no longer anything for us.
And the attachment isn't that was the original plan on where we were going, but that changed. So same with the attachment. So yeah, that's all I was going to add about the move, and we're going to go ahead and fund it, and so we can get it done quick.
I believe I moved to strike. And did you second?
I did.
Okay, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 7, discussion of possible action to relocate court service employees to the first floor of the Oklahoma County Courthouse. I do believe this is worthy of discussion and also action. Are you open to taking action on this today?
No.
Okay.
No.
Then
Unless there is something that needs to be taken care of today because it's earth shattering. I mean, is there, Stacy, a problem on this? Grant, anybody, is there a problem if we wait on this a few days? Okay. Then I think, I mean, this is a decently significant thing. I think all three districts need to weigh in. I would appreciate if District 1 wasn't available because of the circumstances that District 3 isn't, that you guys would afford us an opportunity to weigh in on these types of items, understanding that if it is urgent, needs to be taken care of immediately, we're not going to hold up, that kind of stuff. But
yeah, just
on these,
we've delayed it a month now by doing that for the last two meetings. So, all right. Item number 8, discussion possible action regarding potential replacement for the IT. Dane, is this urgent to you? Do you have anything to report on that you believe is urgent?
I do have a report, but nothing I need action on, just an
Okay.
update. We believe that the repairs were done last week, apparently, and they were only partly done. So the compressor has been installed, but they put in 60 pounds of refrigerant, but apparently that compressor can hold more. So what we've done is we're gonna amend the contract again to bring them back out and fill it up, because I don't wanna run it until it's actually full. So that item has gone to that amendment's gone to the DA this morning. Hopefully it comes back and we can get it on the next BOCC for approval.
Okay.
And then they'll come back and finish it.
Okay.
So.
Dane, if something else changes between now and when we either come back from recess on this meeting, or if we adjourn this meeting and have a special, if something comes up between now and then, please be sure and let us be
Sure.
aware of that.
Yep, will do.
Thank you.
I'll move to receive report.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
9, discussion possible action regarding rescoping of ARPA project number 135. Anything urgent here, Stacy?
Well, yeah, it's getting that way, but I think I'll wait a couple days.
Well, on this one, the clerk's office wanted to wait anyway. I'd spoken with them on Friday. If District 3 were here, I was going to make a motion to actually strike this item, not knowing when the clerk and Mr. Barnes were going to be able to get together, instead of us just continuing this if we need different attachments. I'm not going to make that motion to strike since District 3 is not here on something like that. But the court clerk's office, even if District 3 were here, they're not ready to have us consider this at this time. So,
Stacy, now report. Nothing to report? Okay. All right. Item number 10, discussion possible action to present a progress report on the courthouse elevator upgrades. Chris, do you have?
We're waiting on a date for an inspection. There's just a few small things that need to be corrected from our last inspection. So we're waiting on a date for them to come re-inspect it. But other than that, everything's looking good.
Did we resolve who was responsible for, not looking for blame, but
It's
what
just
the final, go ahead, yeah.
It's just the fire system recognizing and acknowledging some of the things that the elevator is doing. So they just a few points that had to be taken care of.
So we've identified what needs to be taken care of.
Yes, we've identified them. Now we're waiting for a date for the next
Right, because
inspection.
they've been taken care of, right?
Mhm,
Cool.
they've been taken care of.
Thank you. I'll move to receive that report.
second. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Discussion possible action regarding owner's representative report on ARPA projects, specifically but not limited to schedule and budget. Well, you might, welcome.
Good morning. Start with juvenile justice, just a few photographs. They're progressing very well. The roof is in. This is the brick exterior last Thursday. The roof drains are tied in. And Finally, the mechanical systems are, major trunk lines are in. They're on schedule for being pretty well complete in March, but right now we possibly see a delay in mechanical equipment, but progress is very good on JJL. Elevators, and this is for all elevator projects, progressing with DDs, and we are currently scheduled hopefully to have CD review set late March with hopefully bidding in April. So overall, the projects are going well. And I'll get to one other elevator issue in the next meeting. The no change on court clerk, the jury pavilion, pushback. Sheriff's Office, Midwest City is on track. Clerk's books, again, as I heard, there'll be no action. This associated with the annex security, at some point we need to make a decision on the asbestos as it relates to the annex area, if that's going to be included in the contractor's work or if we're going to include it in the clerk books work. Also, if we're going to work around it or remove it. White and Associates' preference would probably be to remove all the asbestos in the area that we're going to work through the contractor. That also means that we may have to have some people move out for a period of time. But that's just an update, and that's ready to go on the street.
And most of this board, as I've talked to you, has been very interested in putting out the front entrance project now with a delayed work order in the summer. And we're going to lose this whole month if we can't have these meetings. So rather than, I hope you just move it for a couple days and then we go ahead and have this meeting for these issues.
Well, I was under the impression that we were sending this out to bid.
I think there's still some unanswered questions, especially with the HVAC. You know, floors 1 and 2 are tied together.
Mm-hmm.
Can you untie the floors? And if you can untie the floors, can you untie them east, west, north, south? All those issues. Should we do asbestos at all? I don't know.
Well,
And my preference is to do the asbestos, get it on the street, and review the airflow questions.
yeah.
And I don't disagree with that, but that means not only is the clerk and the books going out for a while and coming back, so's the sheriff and so's the DA's cash counter.
Right. But, and I agree, I think we're all in agreement that that is the best way to move forward, if at all possible. So I thought we were going out to bid because we need to get out to bid to get ahead of some other projects that may
We've
be
talked about it, but not
forthcoming.
formally across the board with a vote.
Right. I think that ultimately that is what we want to do. I think there were two things that we were waiting on to be able to make the final call, which was the cost of the asbestos abatement that had not already been factored in. And then I believe the clerk's office was looking for space to be able to move the books completely out for a particular period of time. I think really we kind of have three options. I think the number one option that I think most of us are in agreement on is that we find a way to do the full asbestos abatement on the first floor, and the clerk's office find some space for those books during that process. Otherwise, if we can't find that space, then we're probably not able to do the full abatement, but we still need to move forward with that project.
Okay.
So I think
We're ready to move forward. I just wanted to confirm that, I guess, today.
yeah.
Yeah, I was looking for a vote because I need money for that asbestos on the west end.
Well, have we gotten that dollar amount?
Policy and governance, well, we've got one quote that's on a little bit on the low side, and looking at state contract, yeah, you're a couple hundred, 300,000 short. So that's money's got to come from policy and governance to the BOCC to us. So These need to be discussed in these meetings and voted on.
So you have a dollar amount.
I have one that I'm comfortable with, yes. It's not, I don't have a hard bid. I mean, there's no way to get that at this point.
Okay, what is that number?
450,000.
Okay, and at the 450, that puts us $300,000 short.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. So that answers the first question. What's the cost? The second question is on the clerk's office, as far as them being able to be out of the space for us to be able to do that. Have you guys identified a location?
We're in the process of finding location. I would say if it weren't for a couple of events last week, we would be prepared to have some kind of set of options by the end of the week. Hopefully that still sticks, but we've toured some facilities that I think will work.
Okay, and you guys are wanting to try to do that process where we're just moving out all of the books one time and then moving them all back in when it's completed. Okay. Okay, so sounds like that's what they want to do. They're working on finding the space. You've given us the dollar amount, the $300,000, and then we can finish this conversation here in a couple days. Give them some more time to locate that appropriate space and then move forward. I think regardless of whether we can afford the asbestos or whether they're able to find space, we've got to move forward on getting that out to bid. We have to. Hopefully we can wrap everything up and do the project the way we want to do it. But if we can't, we can't. So, but it sounds like we're going to be able to get there, I think. Okay.
Were you wanting to delay the vote so that District 3 can be here to be able to vote on it as well, to take the action,
Delay the vote as far as,
to direct them to move forward?
well, I think they're moving forward with or without a vote. I mean, what are we talking about? Are we talking about a vote as in where the $300,000 is coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not comfortable doing that, but I think that we could get the bid documents and everything out the door, because I know District 3 has said this in open meetings, and you guys have as well. I think we're all in agreement that we want to get this out to bid ASAP. So I don't think that's controversial at all. I think that's been the stated position of everybody, but I don't necessarily know that that requires any action today for them
Casey, do you
move forward on
need
that.
action from us today?
Well, I got some information that I didn't know, that they are actually actively agreeing to move out and back one time.
Uh-huh.
I kind of heard through the grapevine, but it was nice to
Okay.
get it formally.
And we need to wait on that final decision as well, because I'm assuming, based on prior conversations with you, Stacy, that $450,000 cost for the asbestos abatement would be considering a full move out, availability of the entire space to be able to be abated, as opposed to moving books within the space, abate a little bit, move them back around, abate more. Correct? That would be more expensive.
Yes, but you're remember, the front entrance project has asbestos abatement in it. That means the heat and air on one is going off.
Right.
For a long time. So you can't keep employees down there anyway.
Right.
So the fact that they're now willing to move, that opens the project up to go.
And we do
Well, I think they've been willing to move. I think it's just a matter of finding the space. I don't want to misspeak, but okay. But my point is, if they couldn't find something, then the cost for abatement or whatever might be more expensive anyway. So I think we need to find out where, if they are able to move the books all into one centralized location for the duration of the project.
it really frees us up to plan the work. That's the main thing.
Right. Yeah.
So I appreciate the information today. It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Drainage.
I'm sorry, Justin. And so Stacy said we can divide 1 and 2 on the HVAC.
I feel like we can, but I don't know that you can divide one north, south, east, west. I mean,
Okay, but on dividing 1 and 2, and we believe that that will satisfy, there won't be any, I'll just leave it at that. That's good. Chris?
We haven't completely looked at that. Theoretically, we believe we can divide 1 and 2. We haven't looked at the mechanical system. We haven't looked at the mechanics of it. Theoretically, we believe that can happen. Dividing east and west, north and south, that would be a major undergoing. That's really not logical at all. But 1 and 2, it can probably happen.
And we're going to proceed to determine that
Yes.
in the coming
yes.
week.
We'll determine that this week.
Right. Okay.
And just to confirm, I think I heard this before, but because the jury assembly room is on its own separate ventilation system,
it's on
that
a
won't
separate-
affect
It
it?
doesn't affect it.
Yes.
All right.
We were thinking when we did that space.
Thank you. Sorry. Please continue.
Okay. Drainage culvert moving forward. Obviously, it's somewhat affected by weather. I will see how they do in January. Juvenile justice roof this week. We're having a final walkthrough with the manufacturer, and we should have the warranties and the final documents complete for you and approval. Again, the elevators are stated. Camera security is no change. Behavioral health, no change. Existing jail HVAC, that scope is complete, and we're finalizing that plan forward. Existing jail roof replacement, we will have the pre-construction meeting tomorrow for both the metal roof repair and also the roof replacement. And the loading dock, the scope is reviewed and finalized, and we should be putting that out this month also.
Any questions? If not, I'll remove to receive the update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Aye.
The second, aye. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Item number 12, discussion and possible action to present an update on the meeting of the Oversight Board.
They did not meet.
All right, item number 13, discussion and possible action to temporarily relocate court services employees to second floor law library and fifth floor offices in the Oklahoma County Courthouse. I think this is urgent since we're just days away from them being to vacate and need a place to meet and or to provide services, and we don't even have a build out scheduled for permanent locations. Grant?
Yeah, so I've spent a lot of time with Vanita in the law library, and Renee, thank you for helping out as well. So those folks that would be going to the first floor, until that space is completed and ready for move in, we obviously need somewhere for them to go. They won't fit out at juvenile. So we located 2 spaces in the law library, as well as 2 spaces on the 5th floor of the courthouse. And those will accommodate those folks temporarily until that first floor can be done. So that's where we're at with that.
So
Vanita, did you have anything?
We're county. We don't mind helping the county. But we would like it done as soon as possible, the first floor. I mean, I got permission to go ahead and let them use it, but it was on a short-term basis. So.
Yeah, so there's a room, this, excuse me, the space that you're providing is available for a few months while the build out, wherever we determine this, okay?
Yeah, because the space that we're using, which really works out really good for them, was donated to us, the funding for that. So it's our new area. I don't know if you've had a chance to come see the new area, those new rooms. And so it really will work out well. But again, that area was donated to us. And so we hate to.
And Renee, the spaces on the 5th floor, the same thing, they're available for a few months for the foreseeable.
Yeah, they're temporarily available, and unfortunately, the situation we find ourselves in is we're short 5 court reporters and they're not out there. So I can't hire them. I've been trying to hire for 3 years and can't get them. So I have 2 court reporter offices that are available until hopefully court reporters pass the exam and I get some more. But you guys have helped us and we are happy to help you guys. So thank you very much.
Do you have any further questions, Cody?
Do we know how long a potential first floor build out is going to take?
I do not. Chris may have some information.
And I think it sounds like the relocation to the law library and the 5th floor offices are temporary. So I think we need to take action on the movement onto the first floor and the changes that are going to be necessary for that to occur before we approve temporary space. Because if we approve temporary space and we don't approve the other permanent / long-term temporary space on the first floor, then we're just in the way. So I think that we need to address the other before we would address this. But I would still like to know the timeline.
I've secured quotes on the job, so I know I have a rough estimate of what it's going to cost. We have not secured funding, so that's what we're waiting on is funding
Yeah, on the first floor
on the
space,
first
right?
floor space. Yes.
Okay, well, I'll ask you a couple more specific questions on that when I believe that's also on here, right? First floor space.
Yeah, we can open that back up. As far as the second floor and 5th floor, since they are temporary and since keeping court services in the ICB building would completely hold up that entire project, I would go ahead and move to recommend moving court services temporarily to the 2nd floor law library in the 5th floor offices on the Quincy courthouse. That would be my motion.
Without knowing the cost of the first floor, the exact timeline of the first floor, and whether those would be approved as a location that they would move to.
Yes, because we're going to have to find some place to put them. And it was up higher on the agenda, but we didn't discuss it, but I'm happy to open it back up. Go ahead.
If I could just offer one more comment, I know these guys need to get out of ICB. You need to get that going for the DA's office. We need to get our court clerk stuff going. We need to get moved out to juvenile for our court buildings. There's all kinds of things tied to this. And it's critical, though, for the courts to be able to keep going, to have these folks in the building. I would ask that you go ahead and approve the temporary move so that we can keep all of these things going and we can keep these services for the folks that need them here. I realize, I understand what you're saying, Cody, about wanting to make sure that they're really going to the first floor, but really wherever they go permanently, we still need them here temporarily. We still need them here to perform those services. So that would be my request.
I appreciate that. And I think that waiting until Thursday is not going to impede anything. I would anticipate waiting a few days. I just hate, I mean, this is kind of a big deal, and I would want the opportunity for District 1 to weigh in on a subject matter such as this. I just don't want to step on District 3's toes and preclude them from participating in this decision. This is a pretty significant decision. I don't personally have a problem with this relocation as it sits and we're discussing right now, but I am not comfortable voting on it at this particular time. I think if we recess this meeting until Thursday, I'm hopeful that we would be able to have a full horseshoe here represented so that everybody's viewpoint can be considered.
Well, if I may, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were going to reconvene as early as Thursday. I agree 2 days probably wouldn't make that big a difference. I may or may not be able to attend on behalf of the courts on Thursday, but I can assure you between now and Thursday, our offer of that space is not going to change. So,
Renee, if something does change between now and then and you're not able to make it, do you mind sending us an email and just letting us know the change in your position?
yes, if anything changes, I'll let you know, but I don't anticipate that. But if it does, I certainly will.
Thank you. Vanita, likewise?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Renee. Thank you, Renita. The motion fails for lack of a second. I will go ahead and move to receive the update.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 14, discussion and possible action regarding recommendation to enter into a lease agreement with state auditor for office space in JJC. Chris, do you have anything on this? And I mean, we're going to reconvene on Thursday apparently, so no worries if not.
Yeah, we've sent the emails out, we sent the lease out. Everybody has all the copies and all the paperwork, and we'll dig into it on Thursday.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
I'll move to receive the update.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. And Chris, I didn't realize, well, I did, but I forgot that we had already moved on past the first floor discussion, so I'll hit you up outside the meeting on some of my questions. Thank you.
You want to, we can open that back up, Cody.
No, that's fine.
That's fine. All right, I'll entertain a motion to recess.
Hang on just a second. Somebody from the DA's office is here. Did you want to address anything on those items? I just wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity. Okay, good deal.
Thank you. Are you going to want to make a motion to recess until?
I think we need to see if there's any new business.
I'm sorry. Any new business at all? All right. Any citizens participation? All right. Are you wanting to?
Yeah, I'm checking my calendar.
There's no one here from.
I'll move that we recess this meeting until Thursday, January 11th at 10 a.m.
I'm not available then.
What is your availability on
I could
Thursday?
do earlier or later.
Well, let's go for earlier.
How about 9 a.m.? Does that work?
Yeah,
All
9
right.
a.m.
If you'll accept that.
Hang
amendment.
on
Go
real
ahead.
quick. Mr. Barnes, what time is the weather briefing on Thursday? 2 o'clock, okay, yeah, 9 o'clock, thanks.
All right. I'll second the motion to.
Hang on, I don't think I officially did it. I will withdraw my motion to defer, or I'm sorry, to recess until 10 a.m. on Thursday. And I will make a new motion that we recess this meeting until Thursday, the 11th at 9 a.m. in this room.
All right. I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Meeting is recessed. Here we go. Finally came out.
Thank you.
I didn't get in. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Calling To order the meeting of the PBA advisory. Meeting was properly noticed on January 5th. District 1 and District 2 are present. First item number 1 is discussion possible action regarding the minutes. You want to defer that?
Yep.
Are you willing to vote on that?
Well, not defer it because we'll leave it on this agenda, but we will take specific action on it when we
Next time we meet.
reconvene, assuming that we do recess this meeting.
Okay. All right. Item number 2, discussion possible action regarding the ARPA projects, including dates, design, start, project bidding, project award dates, and utilization of construction to oversee and represent county's best interest.
We'll wait for the owner's rep report.
No action. All right. Item 3, no action on that. We'll wait on that. Item number 4, discussion possible action regarding an update from the owner's representative for the PBA ARPA projects. Welcome back. Thank you.
Updates, emergency operations. Currently, the check, we'll send out a check set on January 12th for review with final DD drawing scheduled for February 2nd for formal submittal. Also, no changes as elevators, but we do need to note that we will coordinate also the ICB elevator requirements with Miller and Small for the projects. Finally, camera security. We have a specific change order in the amount of $20,923.74. I know that we were to review funding of that maybe today, but that won't happen. But we do need to proceed with that as soon as possible.
It's on policy and governance tomorrow to secure the funding.
So if you remember, this was purchase order was maybe before we got here, but it is for the convenience plugs and electric for the camera systems on each floor.
Oh, yeah.
ICB remodel, I believe the architects are here to review all that. The facade project and the interior remodel are being coordinated, and I'll allow them to go through their design here shortly.
Any questions?
Nope.
All right. I'll move to receive report.
Thank you. Second. Thank you, Mr. White.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Discussion possible action to receive presentation from the architects in the ICB building.
Well, they're here today to present it to you if you'd like, or they said they were willing to come back Thursday if you want.
No, this was one of the reasons why I stated specifically, if we've got people here, I knew you guys carved out time to be here to make this presentation. I did mention that to District 3 that, we probably should hear from folks on, matters that are of urgent nature, as well as folks that are here to make presentations. With our meetings being recorded to be able to be rewatched, I think that everybody can watch those. They just can't be here to take action, but they'll be able to receive all this information. So I think it's appropriate that we go ahead and receive the presentation.
All right, you're up. All right, thank you. Thank you for your time today. Thanks for the opportunity to present. My name is Mike Mays. I'm with Miller Architects. I'm a principal there. Today, we're going to talk about a progress update to the exterior of the Investors Capitol building. To date, we've done a building assessment, and you're going to see some schematic design presentation and discussion on this. So first, we always like to start with the history of the building. This is an image that we found at the Historical Society. This is actually when it was built in the early 1900s. You can see it's made out of concrete. The building's 5 stories tall. You can see them topping out. There's even a guy there at the top, probably not tied off, but he's up there building away. The historic image is being shown here. This is what we're basing some of the new concept on that you'll see here in a little bit. Some key things that we like to note from this is we've already talked about the concrete frame, but the window pattern we think is really important. We think the large punched openings at the base that address the street are quite important. There's a horizontal band that you can see. I'm not sure if this has a laser on it, but that you could see at the first level. It's about a half level, and as you know, the building it is a half level. That is a key element. There's also a portico type entry on the east facade that you can see. It's got a couple little columns and a little pediment that sits on top of that. There are brick column insets. It's really sort of a punched opening type building, but there's a subtle inset as you move to the center of the building. The two window bays are pushed back just a little bit, about a brick course, if you will. And then the cornice, which you can see in the historic photograph. And so we're not exactly sure what year this was taken, but this is really part of our inspiration that you'll see for the new design for the exterior building skin. It takes all of these components that we've just talked about and translates them into something more modern and more for the 21st century. So having that history really informs us to what the building wants to be currently. Here's one that we've taken that we found that was, I would assume, 1940s, 1950s. You can see the little portico entrance is taken off the east side, the little punched windows that were existing around the first floor level have now been opened up to bigger storefront type windows, and the remainder of the building stays the same as original. And then we take it into the late 1960s, and the aluminum screens were installed, the travertine panels were installed, the portico is gone, the cornice has been cut off, the infilled or the openings at the street level have been infilled, and it caused quite a bit of damage, as I'm sure all of you know. So we've actually gone through this and looked at all the materials and the infill portions. We've done roofing analysis. We've done GPR testing, which is a test that Terracon has done for us, which is trying to identify the concrete structure, where the rebar is. We are doing material sampling on the brick, so it'll be a moisture test, compression test. We've been out there with some experts looking at the coating on the building. The coating is a cementitious coating. It is not a paint. So we're told that it could be up to 10 different chemical peels to even try to get that off, and that would damage the brick. It would certainly damage the mortar. And then after that, what we're left with is something to repair that is not historical, meaning the cornice is gone, other historic elements of the building are gone. And so, our conclusion after all of this is that the damage is such that it's technically and economically infeasible to restore the building even close to its historic nature due to the coatings, due to the damage that's done by attaching the travertine panels. Some of those travertine panels were actually directly adhered to the columns, so when you pull that off, the face of the brick is going to come off. So that's our recommendation. Even if you were to be able to do that, you would be left with something that's uninsulated, vulnerable to water intrusion, air intrusion, particulates, just an inefficient, unhealthy building. So basically, that's our conclusion. We do think perhaps there are portions of the brick that might be able to be salvaged during the demolition, and we can reuse that just to pay a little bit of homage to the historic nature of the building. So if we're able to do that, we'll create some little vignettes, if you will, throughout the building. Okay, so that will take us into Here's some more images of the damage. I mean, just there's been some testing on it that has not produced any good results. So here we go. So this is the north-facing facade. So we've demoed all the brick. We've taken that off. We've reclaimed what we have, what we can. What you're seeing we'll start on the ground level, is the base of the building matches the large historic openings. And there's a horizontal band that you'll see at the base of the building that again is at the first level floor plate. And that really engages the street in a very interesting way. Most buildings, you walk right in off the street, right into the first floor. This one does not. That has some interest in architecturally, the way it meets the street. That material could be a tile, it can be a grooved metal panel or a fluted cast stone piece. It can be pretty much anything we want to be able to make a nod towards the history of what it was. It was a board before. It looks like it was a wood piece before. What this also does is allow us to have a bit of protection from the street. You think about bollards and throwing things protective-wise on the building. We can actually slip those columns or protection devices behind the glazing system, use that first floor plate as a shear buffer, and create something that is more inviting yet protected as well. And so we really want to try to integrate that. As we move up the building, the vertical glass joints that you see that are the black lines in the glazing are actually tracing the historical punched opening windows. And so again, we're just trying to cull some history in this new modern structure. You can see that we've actually opened the size of the glass to span 2 floors. So the proportions of the building feel better. It was a little squatty before with the punched openings. When you go to a modern sort of aesthetic, making those more proportional brings in more light, but it also helps see some of the history behind it. So you can see some of the, as you move up the building, you see the concrete floor plate behind the glazing. So we're actually showing off some of the history of that first image that we showed you, which was the concrete structure being built. So that's from the early 1900s. We can envision that being lit at night or something and become something special that really melds the modern and historical aspects of it together. You can see on the far right of the image, we've also created another glass slit as it touches the annex. And that's merely just to identify that these are 2 separate buildings. And also there's a column grid that's behind there. We think that would be nice to light as well to show the sort of rough concrete texture from the 1900s. As you move up the facade at the very top of the glazing, there is what's called a corbel. And the historic image, I was remiss, I didn't point that out, but there's a corbelled arch. That just means bricks are stepped back, right? We've done that in a modern way. So we've done that across the entire opening rather than at the individual punched openings. So again, looking at the historic building, saying what can we do in terms of making this new facade pay homage to that building. The cornice is completely gone. As you move up a little bit higher, what we've done is rather than add an overhang for some unnecessary reason, we've pushed that back to keep the proportion of the historic building, and think it's a really nice detail there at the top. One last thing, on this facade at least, the brick infill right now is a shear wall. So the building wants to move like this, and when we pull that brick out, we need to come back with something that stabilizes the building. So faintly in this image, you can see a V behind the glazing, and that is a steel brace that will span 2 floors. And that's really contextual nod to First National and Devon. So First National is actually has that chevron shape, and that's where Devon Energy got the chevron at the top of their building. So we're doing it at a much smaller scale, but contextualizing that with the neighborhood surroundings is a nice sort of layer to this architectural composition. Here's what it might look like at night. You can see those braces a little bit more. The lower level, the basement level, those would be sandblasted or translucent glass, so you wouldn't be able to look down in there. But again, it gives a nice presence as if the building's kind of floating a little bit. There'll be some splash of light out on the sidewalk, which again is a bit unique to this particular building. There's a shot from the corner, the northeast corner, looking southwest. Night shot. And then as we look at the east, it changes just a little bit. Most of the same architectural vocabulary that I just explained remains. What we've done in the left portion of the building, you see glass slit, and that is a new stair that SA Studios will be talking about in a little bit. We've been working with them. They're the interior architecture firm. So there needs to be a new stair, new egress stair placed there. And so in lieu of making it opaque, we've chosen to do something a little bit different, and that is to make it a glass enclosure. And within that glass enclosure, if we're able to salvage enough bricks, we would line the red historic brick on the interior of that and light it at night. So there's a history there that we're trying to weave in with this, again, this modernity that we're bringing forth. And then on the back side of the building, we've got two concepts that we've discussed with facilities management and DA office. And it really is trying to further weave some of the historic brick into the existing facade. So this is a south facade. You can see we made the same proportions with the brick, the new brick from the building, hoping to salvage as much historic brick as we can and sort of overlapping those. So as if they're weaving together and creating something with the same rhythm of the punched openings. There's a different solution here, which is to bring the larger openings around to the south as well. That's really some of your best views of downtown. Overlooking the courtyard, adjacent to it, looking at the library, Devon Rotunda, First National, those kind of things. But really consolidating that historic brick on the left-hand side of the image as it abuts the annex, and that's sort of the second version of this. So there's three sides to the building. Those are the images for that. And I'm happy to take questions and comments.
Cody, do you have questions?
No, I just appreciate that we're not looking at flipping bricks around and messing with the cementitious coating. Never thought I'd have to hear that again. I appreciate all the work that you guys put into. These are some beautiful renderings. My only question is, how are we going to make the annex look okay next to something that looks like that?
We're happy to help you with that.
But no, I really appreciate the work that you guys put into it. You can definitely see the effort to pull the historical nature of the building in while also, bringing some modern design elements to the table. I like what I see.
Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'll move to receive the update.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, item number 6, discussion and possible action regarding update on the Investors Capital Building exterior building envelope. Chris, is there anything on that one, or Stacy? Okay. Item number 7, discussion and possible action regarding update on Investors Capital Building interior project.
Hi, my name is Crystal Dinker. I'm a partner with SA Studio, and we are working on the interior of the building and also coordinating with Miller Architects, who's doing the exterior of the building. Our office has been working very closely with the DA's office. They were able to provide a program to us with all of their current staff, their teams, their projected future growth, and as well as who they want to group together on each floor. So we were able to go floor by floor with their program and accommodate all of their requests. In working with Miller Architects on the exterior of the building, what we are looking to do is to push all of the offices we can to the exterior to take advantage of the natural light. And then we will have kind of glass walls on the interior, but we will have doors for the offices to keep them private. And that will help bring the light onto the interior spaces and the support spaces as well. If you look at the first floor here, we have 2 public access points. We are going to keep the existing east entry as the main public entry space, and then we'll have our reception right off of that. And then on the north side, we will have the accessible public access point, and this is an existing existing access point with an existing lift. The lift is currently not very, it doesn't work all the time. It's very sporadic. So we're going to replace that with a new lift. And then we will have on the exterior doors, there will be a buzzer access. So we will have to be buzzed in from the reception room. So it'll be just this very small area of both portions that will be public access. The majority of the building and the floors will all be controlled access. So these are the spaces that they have requested go on the first floor. We have the Brill hearings, the investigators, elder abuse, file room, reception, Team Benna, and a single attorney that wasn't associated with every other group. If we move on to the second floor, we have here the general felony groups. There's 3 different divisions, and so we were able to group those and then also have some additional offices for growth. This interior spaces, we have some open office areas for their support staff, and again, we'll be bringing in the natural light through that. I did forget to mention, we do have a new stair that is on the east side of the building, and in looking at the building code, we were required to have a second means of egress in case there was a fire near the original stair. So we looked at doing maybe a fire escape or an interior stair, and it was determined the best interest of the building with the new exterior facade would be to do an interior stair. So that does go through all 5 floors, and it will be 1 hour rated, completely code compliant. And then, like they said, we're going to look at maybe using the exterior brick that's salvaged on the interior of that stairwell, just to kind of bring the historic nature into it. If we go to the 3rd floor, so the 3rd floor has had a semi-recent renovation, so we're looking to keep as many of the existing walls as possible. So we were able to get Team Domestic Violence, SVU, victim advocates, and the charge pool on the 3rd floor. And on each floor, we have 2 separate small meeting spaces that are shared among the different teams. And then we also have 2 kind of private calls offices for anyone that is in the open office space if they're needing somewhere to go for a private call. So those will be shared among the teams as well. And then if we move on to the 4th floor, the 4th floor again has been fairly recently renovated. So we are keeping, again, as many walls as possible. Currently, all of the exterior offices do not have doors. They're just openings you just walk through. So we are proposing we close those off, again with glass doors for the privacy issues of each of the offices. We are going to keep the fourth floor corridor from the annex to the IBC open. There will still be traffic coming through there between the courts building and the public lobby here. So we will have that open, so you don't have to go between the courts, outside, back in, and then go back through security. It'll all only have to go through security one time. We do have to build a new ramp on this floor. The current ramp that's built from the annex to the ICB is not accessible. It's not code compliant. It's really too steep. So we will be putting in a new switchback ramp that you see here to make that code compliant. And then if we go to the 5th floor, in the purple here, we're going to have a big executive suite for the DA's office. Then we will have the other teams, finance, BENA, homicide, and civil as well on this floor. And then the executive suite is going to have a really big conference room. And it is our preference that we go with the second option for Miller with the big glass windows, because that conference room is going to be really, really nice. And to have those big unobstructed views, it would be really great. So, is there any questions?
Does the elevator ever open up into the annex building? It doesn't, does it?
It does
stays
not.
contained.
It
Okay.
is completely separate, and it will be secured, so it will not be public use.
And then the first floor, 2 separate entrances for the public. That's right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And you will have to be buzzed in the accessible entrance. It will
Okay.
not be just come and go as you please.
Okay. That's, yeah.
What about the basement?
The basement, the only thing that we are doing in the basement is renovating the existing restrooms. Will just be gutted. The walls will be contained. And then I believe the DA is going to use those for record storage.
Okay.
Is what they're currently being used for.
Okay. And logistically, you had mentioned the walkover on the 4th floor. Are we anticipating that just to be an open all the time? Right now, it's badged access only. Is that something, Stacy, do you know what's contemplated there, or have we determined that yet?
I don't think we determined that detail. As she said, once you're in security, there wouldn't necessarily be a reason to badge it off. But then as you think about further security issues, maybe they do want a badge. So it's still a point of discussion.
Right. Well, is there going to be security on the first floor of the ICB? I mean, I know it's going to be secured access, but if somebody comes in, are they going through a magnetometer and whatnot?
I think
We
the
haven't
lady here
determined
has your
that.
answer.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's a plan for that yet. Obviously, that's the sheriff's call on providing that level of security over there. But the intent was to put our law enforcement on the first floor for security reasons. That's why all of our investigators are down there. Regarding the 4th floor, are you asking if they badge into the ramp area or badge into our offices?
Either. It depends on how the build out is going to be. Currently, you don't have to badge to get onto the ramp. You go down the ramp and
Correct.
then there's a little, vestibule that you badge to get over.
I can't speak for the architects, but our intent was to keep it as it is because we need people to come over and pay at those windows. So that gives them access to pay, kind of like on the 5th floor, but they can't get into the building offices without badging in.
Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then the other question on the south side, I noticed, and I noticed this on the architect's renderings as well, there's no entrance on the south side. Currently, we've got that door that's shuttered on the south side into the alley. Are we doing away with that?
In what you saw today, yes, but it's
We have
a
talked
point of
about-
discussion.
Yeah, we have talked about leaving that open for employees, and then maybe the media if they're coming in that way, because the media conference room is right there. But that was just talked about in our last meeting, so we have not got that coordinated yet.
Okay. As far as an emergency exit or whatever that might be, you know, something to consider, having that there to be able to get out. Now, as far as, you know, the media or whatever, I don't know what kind of access they would have there because the sheriff's office has the gates there, so there's not really public access into that portion of the alley. But I mean, stuff can change, right? But that kind of triggered a thought on that south entrance.
The plans show an employee entrance with steps going up there, so it is part of the plans or not part of the plans now?
Based on our last meeting, we did quickly add that in. I don't think it has been reflected on the exterior renderings yet.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, you
have
did?
the
I may
door?
have just
Okay.
missed it. I didn't notice that. You did a good job hiding the door. Yeah, I did not notice it.
Okay, yes.
The glass area there.
Okay, yeah, there it is. Good job.
Yeah, it actually shows two doors on the, yeah, okay.
We will get that coordinated.
Any other questions?
Motion to receive report.
Second.
Thank
All in
you.
favor, say aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, very nice. All right, any citizens participation? Any new business? All right. District 1, do you have any comments?
I will motion that no, I do not. I'll motion that we recess this meeting until Thursday, January 11th at 9:05 a.m. in this room.
Second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we are recessed.